for keeping an eye on the finance department. One of the things that, I'm not sure if you read my attachment, to be very careful as soon as whatever he claims for, you probably already know, and you already read it. He ran almost $10,000 bill, telephone bill. And for what I understand, and it was printed on Parenthood, or he has not paid it. So he owes $9,788.79.
Mr. Costa, we're currently on the consent agenda. Do you have any comments regarding items 5.1 through 5.6?
I mean, from 5.2 right now.
5.2 is regarding an ordinance adding and deleting certain positions.
Okay. So one of the things that I would like to mention once again is that 5.24, the transparency on the housing and the project they do. They have asked for different reports and information, and I really don't get it. One of the things that's really concerning 5.3, one of the things that if you're trying to, anybody that tries to write something, they try to hide it, they minimize the font. And one of the things that's really concerning when you put the font to be no less than 5.6. According to the city attorney, I do believe they are violating the American with Disabilities Act, 1930, section B, qualified readers type of text, and you all, if you don't want people to read it, don't print it. Unless you're trying to hide something, you need to. If you're gonna do campaign changes, it just has to be clear and big enough for people to read it and understand what they're reading. A lot of people disabled, like myself, with glasses, at that time we don't read such a small font. And I think whenever you go below 12 font, you're hiding something. So we need some transparency. If you want people to trust you, you make sure it's clear to people to read. One of the things that is really concerning is that you said that you're going to publish it in Star News. Nobody reads Star News no more. Nobody reads it. Sure, you publicize it, so you're required to publicize it, but nobody reads it. So I believe that you need to do another source. And if you go online to publicize it, a lot of seniors like myself don't go online. So you need to find another source, not Start News, make it something that people like I could read and it's publicized it. Like I say, on emails, on Facebook, it's not good enough. So you need to find a better source. And don't be, if you're trying to hide something, then you're corrupt.
The next speaker is Robert.
Well, thank you for my time. It's real disrespectful to interrupt people. I wish the chair would run the meeting. It's hard to get up here and speak to you guys, and sometimes we get off track. So interruptions to us is very disrespectful because we only get 3 minutes. That's it. That's all we get. Waiving the text and readings, you don't want to tell us every time you guys vote for that. Give us our time and let the chair run the meeting. 5.5, networking. This is what the Erickson report has to deal with, is that the idea that there's private corporations that intercept our communications and then decide what goes through. Now, I don't know exactly which one this has to do with, but we don't store our data on site. And seeing as that is the case, anyone who's dealing with networking for the city and to make it quote unquote secure, there needs to be a lot of thought into these contracts, a lot. Now, I don't know how many of you are computer professionals, but we hack things for a living. That's what we do. It's part of our job. So, getting the contract to reflect liability is the major concern. Like, we could go into the water problems and how they're being held accountable with all those companies. I'm talking about the computer companies being held for their contributions, okay? Like I said, I don't know exactly what this is about. I'm trying to stay in general and not be interrupted. Sometimes we all just need a little peace, too. You know, kind of sit here and think about it. And, you know, for as quick as you guys vote on something, sometimes it's good to just have you guys sit here and think about it for a second. You know, 43 seconds left. I do appreciate 3 minutes because there's other places in San Diego where they only give you 1. I hope we never become those places. Please represent us. Please listen to us, even if you disagree with us. Just let us speak our words. You know, fuck. There we go. But guess what? It's called freedom of speech. And if you guys want to live in this country like that we should keep it. If you want to be censored, wait till we get the seat.
That concludes the speakers under the consent calendar.
Thank you very much. Just to give an update, first I will go ahead and make the motion to approve the consent calendar items 5.1 through 5.6.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. And I just wanted to tell you, we have an outstanding IT director, Jose Cisneros, who does a great job. And when you're looking at data, you have to make sure you can have the data on site, but you also need a backup because you never know what happens if your data gets corrupted or something happens, there's a fire here, you need to be able to have that backup. So that's why you always have to have some data off-site. So I appreciate you bringing that up. With that, Madam Clerk, if you can please read the heading.
Item 5.1 is approval of a motion to read only the title and waive the reading of the text of all resolutions and ordinances at this meeting. Item 5.2 is ordinance of the City of Chula Vista, amending Chula Vista Municipal Code Section 2.05.010, adding the position titles of Deputy Director, City Clerk Services, Information Technology Project Manager, and Real Property Manager, deleting unclassified position titles that are specifically delineated in City Charter Sections 500A, B, and C, and those position titles that are no longer active. Second reading and adoption, 4/5 vote required. Item 5.3A is resolution of the City Council of the City of Chula Vista approving consultant services agreement between the city and Harrell and Company Advisors, LLC, to provide municipal advisory services. Item 5.3B is resolution of the City Council of the City of Chula Vista approving consultant services between the city and Stradlin, Yoka, Carlson, and Roth, LLP, to provide bond counsel and disclosure services. Item 5.3C is resolution of the City Council of the City of Chula Vista approving the First Amendment to the agreement between the city and Spicer Consulting Group, LLC. Item 5.4 is resolution of the City Council of the City of Chula Vista rescinding resolution number 2024-229 and reinstating the previously approved city permanent local housing allocation plan authorized under resolution number 2023-001. Item 5.5 is resolution of the City Council of the City of Chula Vista approving an amendment to the agreement with Logicalis, Inc. for network design and build and appropriating funds therefore, 4/5 vote required. And item 5.6 is ordinance of the City of Chula Vista updating various sections of Chula Vista Municipal Code Chapter 2.52 to reflect the adjustment of the campaign contribution limit for any elections held on or after January 1st, 2026. First reading. End of consent.
Thank you very much. Please vote. The consent calendar is passed unanimously. We will now move on to public comments. You will be able to go ahead and come up and freely speak about any item that is not on the agenda. And we invite you to come up for a civil public debate. If you are in need of Spanish translation services, please notify the city clerk. Si necesitas servicios en español, por favor, notifica el secretario municipal. I ask that you direct the comments specifically to the City Council and not the audience or people you may believe that support you or oppose you. And I ask you to be respectful to our staff. They are a hardworking group, often engaged in challenging tasks, working to figure out how they can provide high-quality services. Madam Clerk, if you can please call the first speaker for public comments.
Yes, the first speaker is Sarah Ochoa, followed by John Acosta, followed by Nadia Keen Ayub.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council, City Attorney, City Clerk, everyone who's here, City Manager. My name is Sarah Ochoa, Chula Vista resident, and I and a few other neighbors and friends came to the State of the City last Tuesday. We were holding some signs because there have been recent news publications that have raised some concerns for myself and others, frankly. Mayor McCann, you have, in several of the capacities of your elected public service, there's been scandal that has surrounded you, including a payout to a corrupt superintendent, taking contributions from a corrupt contractor, and during Trump's first term, you sent him a commutation letter request for residents who'd been arrested for fraud. They were released, and then later they and their colleagues contributed about $58,000 that benefited your mayoral campaign. Most recently, around the Gaylord Resort, which is beautiful, which many of us participated in. I, about 15 years ago, was part of an environmental coalition that was supportive of that development. But some of us have raised these concerns because you took votes on that project, and it's possible that you are going to financially benefit from that, which is a problem. So we were holding some signs far away from where the event was set up. We weren't disruptive. We were greeting a few folks as they were coming in. About an hour before the event, we were approached by 3 Chula Vista police officers who said, the mayor told us to come tell you when this event starts, you need to go over there, and pointed to the grassy area that has a building between that area and where the event was set up, so we would be out of sight of the event. And I said, this was publicly advertised, is open to the public, this is on public tidelands, we have a right to be here. We're not, I said out of respect for the mayor, I left my megaphone at home, we were being, non-disruptive, and he said, regardless, you're going to have to move when the program begins. I feel like that was an abuse of your power as the mayor to suppress our free speech. We had a right to be there, we were not blocking anyone. Again, we were toward the bay, far away from where the stage and seats were set up. I think that was inappropriate, and I still think you need to answer the public regarding these concerns. Thank you very much.
The next speaker is John Acosta, followed by Nadia Keen Ayub, followed by Sylvia Irigoyen.
City Manager, yes, continue to what I was saying about the phone bill. Here's a huge bill, so whatever Michael Insunza submits to you as a reimbursement, make sure that check, double check, triple check, and get somebody else check, because almost $10,000 is, he could pay if he wants to make phone calls to theater, restaurants, video rentals, which they're closed a long time, hotels, nightclubs, and even Tijuana. Okay, so you make sure, I'm not sure why he was doing that, charging us the taxpayer, because I, taxpayer, pay for that. One of the things, Michael Alonso, one of the things I'm going to ask you if you have given any proclamations to Alonso, since he contributed to your campaign, and since you wanted to give proclamations to anybody, so maybe I'm not sure if you are giving him information about like he said, private information, about projects in Chula Vista that he said at the breakfast First Friday breakfast. Speaking of First Friday, all of you, Mayor, if you have time to go and talk to those attendees on the First Friday, then you all should have time to make the community members. So before you attend to First Friday, make sure you meet the people in the community. One other thing that you all stayed there for, here the flag, going back to the flag right now. I'm not quite sure how many of you actually went there for photo op. You know, if you, all of you know, I know Councilman member Carolina, she knows that what it means because I asked her right now. I actually test her. I go, why are you standing over here? Do you know that color? She actually told me what every single color means. So I know none of you, well, I might be mistaken. You know, if I do, if I'm mistaken, I apologize. But how many people knows the colors and the meaning of every single color on the flag? Okay, so one of the things that like I say, make sure if you have time for a Friday breakfast, then you should make time to meet the community. Okay, you know, Friday breakfast is just a little group, the same group, and especially if you have time, and especially if I me taxpayers pay for that, stop. Okay, city manager, cut the funding, keep an eye on my consensus bills. Thank you.
The next speaker is Nadia Keen Ayub, followed by Sylvia Irigoyen, followed by David Diaz.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Nadia Keen Ayub. My pronouns are she, her, aya, and I get to wear two hats this evening. I am the Vice Chair of the Human Relations Commission for over 7 years now, which I'm very proud of, and I'm happy to serve my community. I am also the Executive Director for Rainbow Spaces. This is one of our South Bay youth right here, and we have over 1,000 youth that are part of our program. I just wanted to come up here and state thank you so much for that wonderful display, for all the support that was given by this council, for standing out there and coming together in unity to demonstrate to the city that our youth matter, to a point that they will consider returning to this city and building on what we want them to build on, to keep Chula Vista an amazing place. I just hopefully that you all understand how wonderful and amazing this is. I'm sure people came out and thanked you, Councilmember Insunza, Councilmember Chavez, Councilmember Fernandez, and Councilmember Preciado. And thank you, John McCann, for finishing us off. Thank you.
The next speaker is Sylvia Irigoyen, followed by David Diaz, followed by Robert.
Good evening. I'm sure you guys remember me. I've been here before. My daughter passed away from a fentanyl overdose in September at Bay Boulevard. She was in a tent with somebody that didn't even know her name. So she was a Jane Doe for over 24 hours in the hospital. It was not considered a crime, so there is no report. There's no support for us when our family members die from an overdose. I received no support. I think that's important that the family members receive some sort of support, counseling, something, some acknowledgement that our child was important. MTS, we really want MTS to be trained to use Narcan. It's important. There's seconds that matter that are very important. If the trolley station security guard has the Narcan on hand, it could mean saving a life. Jaylyn passed away from a fentanyl overdose at the trolley station, January 10th. She was not given Narcan by security. They waited for the police to give her Narcan, but the little girl, she was only 18. She was dead there in the parking lot for 5 hours. Nobody noticed her. It's a serious situation that we have here. Our community is our community. I've been here since I was in 3rd grade. Went to this elementary school that my grandkids go to now. I don't want my grandkids to get involved in this. So we do need support. We need as much support as we can get from anybody, because this is dangerous. But I want to thank Rodrigo, who's a member of Cesar Fernandez's team. He helped us with MTS. We were able to do a vigil for Jaylyn, and that was great. I really thank Mr. Fernandez for allowing Rigoberto to help us. He was awesome. He helped us. He was even there at the memorial, brought flowers. That's a person that really has compassion, and that makes a difference to a family who's in so much pain. Even those little things matter to people like us. Just that acknowledgement was a lot, and that's what I'm really here for, because I just want to thank him for helping. He stepped up. He said he wanted to help us, and he did. And thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Sylvia, what I'll do is I'll take your item as a referral to talk to MTS about using Narcan, and if the security officers can do that. Thank you for
That
bringing
would
that
be
up.
very helpful. Thank you so much. Thank you. I would really appreciate that.
The next speaker is David Diaz, followed by Robert, followed by Harold DeMoss.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the council, commissioners, members of the public, Mayor McCann, Deputy Mayor Chavez, Council Member Insunza, Council Member Fernandez, Council Member Preciado, Attorney Verdugo. First of all, to congratulate you, Mr. Mayor, and the council. I am very proud to be a resident of the city of Chula Vista. We actually have a balanced budget, as opposed to, as you know, our neighboring cities and the county. Not in very good shape at the moment, so I think it's something for all of you to be proud of. And thank you for your leadership, Mr. Mayor. I also wanted to piggyback on what Vice Chair Kina Ayub said, and putting on my hat as Human Relations Commissioner. Thank you all for being here for the flag racing. I think it's very important for the community to see unity in the City Council for events such as this. So thank you, each and every one of you, for your participation. And that is it. I just wanted to extend my congratulations on running the city well, on having a balanced budget, and keeping proactive on the events that we as Human Relations Commission are putting forward. Thank you.
The next speaker is Robert, followed by Harold DeMoss.
I'm not going to be so nice. You know, Jenna's not here, right? So I'll do what she does and remind you guys what meetings were canceled. What was yesterday's meeting? Anybody know? Any of you guys? Do any of you guys know what meeting was supposed to happen yesterday? You know, I know you can't answer, but it's just funny, right? So we put this commission together not too long ago. They haven't had that many meetings. Privacy Technology Commission, ring a bell, anyone? And they canceled it 2 months in a row. So they've only had one meeting the whole entire year, you know? But that's the thing with accountability. It doesn't care about your feelings. It's here to tell you guys what is the problem. And then the plan is, how do we fix it? How do we encourage the people you appoint to show up to these meetings? How do we have more people of the public show up to these meetings too? Consistency. That's the number one thing. And then if we go into your guys' public outreach, Cesar Fernandez held a public outreach, made a couple of promises about putting social media, like the links on his account profile, still not done. So it's also about your guys' promises and then following through on them. And not just making blanket statements to just please us, but action, right? If you want to be transparent, prove it. Because if you don't want to be transparent, I'll make you transparent. That's it. You don't have a choice. It's open public record. And if you guys aren't answering my CPRAs, that's going to be a problem too. A big problem. Why did I send over a CPRA, Cesar, and they didn't even send back the event flyer? I sent in more information than the city had on your own event. They didn't even send me your email address. Yeah, I'm going to include the police department in letting them know that you guys aren't following the law. Is there repercussions, or is it public embarrassment that you want? Because that's all I have. I can't enforce anything on you. I can just tell them what you're not doing. Or encouraging. Like the rest, like you guys. Y'all showed up at an event encouraging people to break federal law. How to evade ICE? Come on, you guys. You guys signed the paperwork to follow federal law. You guys said let the feds enforce the law, and then when they're here to enforce it, you go and make a cry scene. Come on. Like, where's the law and order in that? Where is it? Do you want it or do you not want it?
The next speaker is Harold DeMoss.
Hi. Looks like I come again. A good night, Mr. Mayor. Remember when I saw you with the Jack in the Box after I accused you and the entire city council of embezzling the money? I'm talking about the community development grant program that I didn't get one of those 65 tiny houses for. I've been asking for that for months. My business, which is an art business, has failed because of your incompetence, Mr. Mayor, because of the incompetence of your police department. Because I've been trying to get a hold of Roxana Kennedy, but I can't because they don't want me to talk to her. I was supposed to be in court today, but I wasn't. Because all the stuff that I have out in that hallway, they won't let me take into the courthouse. And my heart goes out to the lady who lost her daughter to fentanyl, because between the second and third times of my going to jail, I lost a friend up in the O lot to fentanyl. I got out that night to go out of jail. I went to go see a friend to go get some weed. I run into this lady who was one of my neighbors at O-Lot and said that the guy died. No. She said, oh, no, not him. The guy at O-Lot. Oh, well, I kind of anticipated that. He's been on fentanyl. I was given a T-shirt by some people about saying, fuck fentanyl. He says, is it hypocritical? I said, yes. Because I wasn't there to get high on weed. He died of an overdose of fentanyl. The people up at O-Lot, and I mean my case managers, children that have no life experience. I now have an SSA advocate on my side trying to get my Social Security disability, because I predicted as a child in Mexico that Social Security would not be there when I needed it. I'm afraid Donald Trump's about to gut health care. I was living in Edward Snowden's hometown, working on Obama's re-election campaign. I once went into a Verizon store to pay my bill at a kiosk. The manager was very rude. I was showing off. Everything I was doing was in Spanish. When he erased all of my info, I asked him, ¿Tienes alguien que me puede entender en español? I told you, Mr. Mayor, my goal is to move to Mexico. I may have to defect from this country. I'm ashamed of it. In Don Pedro's, there's a flag back in the kitchen I gave them. A lady said they were going to arrest me. I said, I'm counting on it. My dad died of mesothelioma. 21 years in the Navy and 20 years in various shipyards, starting with NASCO. My brother thinks he's helping? No, he's like your police, passive-aggressive. I suffer from bipolar disorder, and I'm not getting the help I need. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for being incompetent, lazy, just like the police. The term pig is supposed to be pride, integrity, guts, everything they lack. I've always been a citizen on patrol.
That concludes the speakers under public comments this evening.
Thank you very much. I very much appreciate the speakers.